Oh, here, let me put our music on.
It up, setting up your meeting for Facebook Live.
Ooh, we're live.
Hello.
What's up? What's up, Tea Talks family? It's not Tuesday,
Not Tuesday,
but we're here.
but I still got my tea.
I still got my Woash Wellness tea. And we have a special guest today.
Hello,
Not Tuesday. Why are we here, Candy and special guest?
We're here introducing our beautiful sponsor of the month for the Tuesday Tea Talks mid-morning show, Cassie, who is the owner and founder and creatrix behind this beautiful brand, Woash Wellness Tea. And we're going to just be introducing y'all to one of our beautiful sponsors this month because why? We want you to get to know the creatrix behind the scenes and to also show you exactly what's possible when you follow your vision and say yes to yourself. And this month we are talking all month long on self-love, and what a perfect brand to team up with, because Cassie not only has this epic tea brand that has me time, like come on, tea time, me time, like that's all we talk about all the time, is giving yourself non-negotiable times to connect with yourself, to be in your daily practice. But then also this amazing, which I've already opened, this amazing period blend to really go inward on that time of the month. And I think that's so important in terms of wellness and just connecting with yourself, calling back your power, resetting, recalibrating before you go, filling up your cup, literally and metaphorically, before you go out into the world and do your daily things, your daily fun stuff. So I'm gonna pop on here just to see where everyone's at. And
let us know if you're jumping on. Candy's gonna go ahead and check some of the comments. How's it looking over there, Lovey? This is the first time I went live through Zoom on my Facebook, so we're making sure that we're all a go and that we're actually doing this thing. And while Candy's checking all the comments, just so excited. We have now, this is our third sponsor for Tea Talks and our first international sponsor. And we're so excited that the owner, the founder, the boss babe, the person, the soul behind all the magic was open and willing to have this conversation with us live. And we both, Candy and I both are business owners, so we get that our schedules seem to get fuller and fuller. So truly thank you so much for creating this time in your schedule to jump on and have such an important conversation that we're going to have here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first ever Facebook Live, so I'm very excited. Yeah.
You would have never guessed.
I know. I'm like, Instagram Live, sure, but yeah, like Facebook, I'm like, it's a whole other beast. So I'm really excited. Thanks for having me.
Well, we have so many more people tuning in here than on Instagram, so I just love this. So viewers, drop a comment below. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We can see that people are on, but we can't see who's on. So make sure you drop a comment below. Let us know that you're watching and where in the world you're tuning in from. And I'm so excited for this conversation too, just to even show everyone who you are, Cassie, and just like what it was that inspired you to create this brand, to create this mission, and what the message is behind what you have to offer. And then we'll get into some fun little rapid fire questions a little bit later to have everyone get to know you. And then we'll talk about this amazing period blend that you have to offer, that you just launched recently, and that Leslie and I are sharing all month long on Tuesday Tea Talks. So I'm super excited for this conversation, and we're just going to have a great time.
Cool. No, I can't wait. Thank you. Yeah, first, I'm from Vancouver, Canada, so it is cold here. I don't know where everyone else is from, but I love knowing where everyone's from. Yeah. I'm just a world traveler that I'm always like, oh, so envious of where people are, especially if they're in hot weather, like the two of you, which I'm super jealous about right now. So yeah, do you want me to jump into like kind of the info behind the brand and kind of where it came from?
Yeah, please tell us about Woash Wellness and like what was it that like where were you in life, I should say, when you got the inspiration to create a tea company and to bring this brand to life?
Yeah. So yeah, where was I? That's a loaded question. So I actually was in a very big transition in my life. I had just graduated from business school. I only did 2 years, so I only did a diploma. I don't have a degree or anything. And it kind of, you go against everything that society kind of tells you. So I graduated with that. I got married during those 2 years, which was chaotic. And then my husband and I wanted to take off traveling. And so we actually went on like a mega moon, if you want to call it that. So we went on like a 7-month backpacking trip all over Central and South America, which is so amazing. And this is actually our 3rd trip away. And we don't do like these small 1-week trips. We're all about like, we're quitting life and we are just going to explore and really dive into these cultures and these, just really getting to know like different areas in the world. And just kind of really wanting to expose ourselves to different cultures and different people and different areas. And that's kind of really where it stems from. So I went traveling when I was about 20, and then I went again when I was about 24. So all over Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and then Central and South America are kind of the tidbits that we did. And yeah, I've always been a long time tea drinker, never drank coffee. So that's really where my love of tea came from. And I was kind of your typical tea drinker. I'd buy it from the grocery stores or from like little specialty shops. If anyone's here in Canada, you probably know what David's tea is. It's probably our most popular kind of like loose leaf tea shop you can find here. And yeah, I basically, I just saw a huge niche and a huge gap from basically where tea was created, which is, in more Asian countries and in like the English culture and that kind of thing. And when you dive into that and when you experience that firsthand, I was able to go to like tea plantations and sit with like families who were like tea planters and creators and blenders and all this stuff. And when you sit with people like that and you really get to hear the backside and kind of the tradition, and this was like talking generations, and I was exposed to that and I was like taken back. I was like, I never knew tea was supposed to be that medicinal or that beneficial or that ceremonial, because here in North America it really got lost on that front, I find, especially when the tea industry like Tetley and whatever, Red Rose, all that, they basically industrialized the tea industry and basically, I want to say, botched all tea. They make it into this like really ground fine tea dust, and which makes me so sad. So discovering that, I was like taken back and I was like, that's what I want to be drinking. I drink this at least 3 to 4 times a day. Why aren't I feeling, this connection to Mother Nature and to myself and, having this more ceremonial aspect rather than just like a hot water tea bag on the go on the fly. So that's kind of really where like the inspiration stemmed from, is really wanting to bridge that gap. And that kind of brings me to what Woash stands for. And basically, we're a Vancouver-based company. And we basically aim to bridge the gap between traditional herbal medicine and modern wellness. And through that, we basically carefully craft a variety of blends that utilize the natural benefits of each ingredient. So we basically want to make each blend for a specific purpose and utilizing the natural benefits and healing properties of each ingredient. And then the big thing and the big turning point for me was that, and this is kind of where our values come in, is that I didn't want to cover that up. Like, I want it all natural. I want you to be able to like open up a bag and feel like you just went into the forest and picked these herbs.
That's what this is like. I like opened this bag and I was like, wow, this looks like it came straight from Mama Earth, like literally.
Yes, amazing. Like, I love that, because like you find teas now and it's all like covered with, they add natural and artificial flavorings, and even natural flavorings are chemically made. And we use whole leaf ingredient, and you can kind of see that. So
so epic.
Rather than when they kind of, basically what you're going to find in normal teas is like kind of that dust you're getting is basically the leftover from like the good stuff. It's like stuff that they sweep up and then they put into like little plastic tea bags. So that's kind of what we do. And and all of our values are certified organic. We work with sustainable farms. We try to source locally as much as possible, but we do work with global farms a ton just because we can't grow everything here. And we don't add anything. So no sugars, no sweeteners, no natural artificial flavorings. So we really, our intention is to like really just connect back to nature and also give that encouragement to our community to intuitively look within themselves and kind of what they need. And that's why we designed each blend for a specific purpose.
Love it. Love it. And it's kind of a fun coincidence because Leslie and I, well, Leslie is like the queen gypsy that literally I'm surprised she actually has a home right now because she, for over the last 3 years, she was gone out of America for how many months was it, Leslie?
Well, total almost 2 full years.
2 full years.
And living now, by the time I leave again, because I am leaving again, I will be here 6 months, and this is the longest I've lived in a home for over 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And for me, like I've been traveling over the summer. I covered like 13 countries in the last 2 years alone. So we really get it when you tell us about your sitting with the locals, sitting with the cultural aspect, and sitting with really understanding the traditional aspect. And you see a lot of that on the east side of the world more than in the Western world. And so I totally love that. And it's almost like I want to know now, how in the heck did you guys connect? Because Leslie's in charge of all of our tea sponsorships. She's the one that does all of the reaching out and all of the communications.
That's how I find all the best peeps, y'all. All right.
Yeah. And
so, you're a good hunter for sure. I was like getting voice notes. I'm like, who's this? I'm like, I need to talk to her. It was awesome.
Yeah. Leslie will straight up send the voice notes, like no problem. And that's why she's in charge of that. But what I want to know about this is that, because like you probably, I don't know if you fully knew that about Leslie and I, that we do a lot of traveling as well, but it's no surprise to me why we all three of us connected on such a main common mission in the world to bring back the ancient wisdom for the modern world, right? And so what was it that had you to connect? And then what was it that had you say yes to sponsoring our Tea Talk show? Because you could have, like you said, you get messages all the time for people wanting sponsorships. And what was it that actually had you say yes to us and want to support this show?
Yeah, honestly, owning a business, if I can talk more on the business side for your community, it is tough. You know, you get an overwhelming amount, especially with a product-based business. And I talk so much about this with my community, just how many, people are asking for things, and they do. And like, that's kind of the name of the game, and it's owning a product-based business. And I don't know how many of your community do, but just behind the scenes is, it becomes really overwhelming. And I got to a point in my first year of business, I was saying yes, 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 yes to everything. And it got me to a point of yes, I grew my community. Yes. It gave me exposure and sales and everything. And it was great. But it has this negative aspect where you don't really know where your brand's landing. Yep. So in the first year, of course, you're going to be, and give yourself grace to do this, you're going to be, saying yes to everybody, and you're trying to see what sticks and what doesn't and everything like that. So post first year, I really had to sit down and get really clear and hone in on what is the very clear vision of my brand, and who do I want to align with collaborations, just because they're so overwhelming. And I'm like, I need a system. I need to create a system to say yes and to say no to people, because it's so overwhelming. So basically I've actually created a list that basically if someone comes to me and basically pitches or asks me for something, I basically go through that list, and I'm like, if they hit all these points, and we can dive into their brand and see how they align with us. And that's a big part where you not only did your homework on me and what our brand stood for, you probably said it better than I ever could when you were sending me voice notes over Instagram, and you were just like, hey, and just literally reiterated who my brand was. And I'm like, for her to be able to see that, gives me goosebumps even right now. Just that you noticed it, and you could already see our brand and who we were. And that is I have so much appreciation for that. And because you saw it, and you guys are such tea lovers. And then also you talked so much about traveling. I think at the time you may have been in Bali. Was that correct? Or you just got home or something, maybe?
I just got home.
When I first was reaching out to you, I had just gotten back. I actually remember one of the voice messages. I was right outside my new home, and I was voice messaging you. So
amazing. Yeah, and then you said Bali, and I was like, oh my God, it's one of my favorite places. I was like, okay. I was like, I need to talk to her. So yeah, you honestly just hit everything right on the head, and I just felt like we just really connected. And I think that's the beauty of social media now is, you know, would we have ever met on any different plane? Maybe not. And it's just so easy to do that now. And I think you went above and beyond with the voice notes, and you really connected and complimented and really did your homework. And that's huge in business. So I definitely value that.
Mm, amazing. Amazing. So good. So tell us about this new period blend, and then we'll go into some fun rapid fire questions afterwards. So tell us all about this blend.
Yes, this is our newbie. If they can see it, a little period. So we're pretty like straight up around here. We just name things pretty bluntly. Again, the purpose, I want to like take the overwhelm out of this tea industry and like the kind of industrialized about it. So we really only have, right now we only have 7 blends, and I don't really know how far we're going to go from there. But the period blend is our newest addition, and it's actually one that's so close to me because I created this, which a lot of the other blends I collaborate with other people like herbalists and holistic nutritionists and all that. This is one that was solely straight up just me. So I'm so proud of it. And yeah, it basically just stems from my journey through, you know, just being a woman really, and just kind of how society has basically shunned us talking about periods and talking about our menstrual cycles and our hormones and all that stuff. And I just always found that, you know, I had a very extreme acne as a kid. And then I also had like very extreme periods, and I've just been dealing with this my whole life. I'm basically crippled for like 2-3 days. I'm just in bed. I'm a write-off. I can't think. I'd call in sick to work. Like it was a thing. And, you know, you go to the doctor wanting help and you're seeking, you know, guidance and like, this isn't supposed to be how my body is. This isn't supposed to be how it's supposed to function. Like, and I find, you know, just kind of common medicine these days and doctors and stuff, they're just basically like, it can't be that bad.
Right.
You know, it's fine. Just do this and this, or take some Tylenol, take some
800
Midol. And it's just like all this over-the-counter drugs, and then they put me on Accutane when I was younger for my acne, which is like an extreme, you know, drug that they give to help clear that up. And then doing that, there's so much side effects that you have to go on birth control. Mm-hmm. So like I was just getting pumped with all these like artificial hormones. And I got to a point when I was about like 24, I guess. And so I'd been on birth control for like 11 years. Mm-hmm. And I got to a point where I was like, I could feel it in my body that it wasn't producing its own hormones. I was just it was getting operated like kind of robotically through these hormones. And it really just like bugged me. And that's kind of when I started seeking like natural medicine and natural health. And yeah, so I've kind of been on this journey of like getting off all of that stuff, refusing any of it, and kind of steering very clear of any like over-the-counter pharmaceuticals, that kind of thing. I'm not against like all of it, because I know that, you know, all of that system and everything, it really does help us in some aspects. In this one, I never found that it did. So yeah, so that was kind of the start of my journey. And then as like through tea and finding herbs and just exploring different herbs and how they help throughout my cycle, yeah, that's kind of where this one stemmed from. And I found that it's super simple. There's 3 ingredients in it. So it's raspberry leaf, lemon balm, and stinging nettle. And all of them are so beneficial for women's health. Raspberry leaf is kind of the component in there that's really going to help relieve menstrual cramps. And I'm talking like I'm crippled, and I'll usually make a big jug of it on like day 1, day 2 of my period. And I just sip it all day long. And it's literally like taking Midol all day. Like it's just it just targets your kind of like when you're cramping, it's basically like the spasmatic muscles that are cramping and kind of like trying to get the inner lining of your uterus to kind of shed. So that's what's actually hurting and making like either back pain or cramps. And raspberry leaf really targets that and helps relieve it. So that was like game changer when I found that herb. And then lemon balm is so good for anxiety. So if you get really kind of like anxious when you have your period or throughout your cycle, it's also really good for bloating. So you know how we always feel like on, you know, depending on everyone's cycle is different, but those like couple days where you're like, I just want to wear sweatpants and not go anywhere. That kind of thing. Yeah, right.
You hear all the things like the bloating, the anxiousness, because I used to struggle with heart palpitations on my cycle.
Wow.
And it would be like clockwork. I would experience them, and it would be like my body signal that I'm getting my period. And then I was so grateful that you mailed us these this last week, because I had just got done recovering from being sick, holistically healing on my own, no medications, no nothing. I don't know. I was asking Leslie, what's the difference between the flu and the cold? Because I had no idea what I had, but I know I was taken out for a couple days. And then as soon as I kind of like got done recovering, because I was still kind of at the edge, or like the last 20%, my cycle came. And
it was like double whammy.
I know. I was like, you've got to be joking. But then here you are mailing us these amazing blends. And I was like, you have got to be joking. This is like the perfect thing that can happen right now. And you target all of those areas that women I know struggle with the most. I was just at my sister's house the other day, and her roommate was literally on the floor, like in pain, in physical pain, because of her cramps. And she knew her cycle was coming. And she was literally like, she had to take, she took a naproxen, and my sister was making her tea. But I'm like, wow, if more people would just know about the different herbs that are medicinal in that way. So I'm just so like honestly honored to have you as a sponsor for this month, to be able to talk about these things, because it's super valuable and super important to our community just as much.
Yeah, I find it so, even kind of through launching this, I've noticed even like tenfold just how much it's shunned, honestly, like how much we're not supposed to talk about our periods or our cycles or anything like that. And even my husband, like something happened the other day. It's way too much information, but something happened the other day, and he's just like, ew, gross. And then I'm like, babe, I have my period every month. Like, get over it. Like, I'm really sick of it being gross and it being like this thing. And I'm like, honestly, I'm just over it. And he's like, okay, I get it. And like stepped back. But like, yeah, it's like, it's hard. And I mean, actually I want to talk about the last ingredient, and there's stinging nettle. And that's why this blend you can take all throughout the month. Don't just think that you have to do it right on your, on like your bleeding cycle of it. And stinging nettle is so good.
To take it a few days before, wouldn't you say?
Totally, yeah.
Prep yourself a few days, and maybe even a few days after.
For sure, yeah, no, definitely, yeah. You can drink it all the time. It's kind of depends, like during your actual bleeding phase, that's kind of when you want to really hit heavy with it and drink. I recommend drinking about 4 cups a day on day 1, day 2, if that's like your heaviest days. And then I suggest doing AM, PM for like the remainder of 2 days. And then you can do 1 a day. So it's really supportive. So the stinging nettle in it is actually really great for hair, nails, skin, teeth, bones, like all like the women things that we want to strengthen and keep us younger and all that stuff. And it's really good to like for depletion of iron levels. So when we're losing so much blood, it's really great to regulate your cycle. So if you have an irregular cycle, I would definitely suggest drinking it daily. So overall, it's just like this like triple whammy of just like all the herbs that we really need during our cycle. So
that's amazing. And I'm sure Leslie and I just really both of us equally appreciate somebody who supports our sort of tea addiction. Because and someone who says that you can actually do it multiple times a day, because her especially, Leslie especially, she'll be like, I'm just gonna make some tea.
Yeah, it's like
again.
Constant thing.
I'm like, I'm bored. Tea. Oh, people are over. Tea. Oh, it's movie time. Tea. Oh, I need to journal. Tea. Okay, I need to work. Tea. Like.
I love that you say that. So everyone always asks, because we have 7 different blends. Everyone always asks them like, how did you come up with them all? And honestly, it was literally like a schedule within my week is how I like pick me up in the morning, and then it was like think in the afternoon, and then I like alternate from digest to me time depending how I'm feeling. And like revive was kind of more for the weekends. It's like that adventurous really like kind of supports depletion if you've had a couple drinks the night before. It's really good for that. So I'm like, you're really just getting a window into like what my life is like.
I love you.
Thank you.
So actually, before we transition and do rapid fire, Candy, I know you're ready to get some of that. I just wanted to chime in. I've just really enjoyed this conversation, and I know I didn't really fully share how I found Cassie, but I just know, by the way, it was through Instagram. But I definitely do my research. But even just seeing what actually attracted me to you, just initially was the packaging and the adventureness of it. I just could see the quality. I could see the photo. but I loved that it had such an adventurous, real feel, but yet such a, not a feminine essence, but just still a feminine essence.
Totally. Yeah.
And I'm an adventure chick who's very girly, but also very gypsy. And so I saw it immediately and I was like this. And then I looked into more of the brand. And so I just love, Candy, I know has the package. I have mine still packaged up over here. But I love that your packages are like literally a Ziploc. So it's all together on the go or at home. And I absolutely loved the branding and just everything. And then when we shared and we talked about the period tea, I'm like, and I've told Candy all along, I actually haven't filled her in too much, but I'm like, I just can't believe how aligned this is. Like, you just wait and see, and you'll see. And from traveling to the tea to just what you share, not only just about the tea, but really the main intention about having that time to check in and to slow down and to really presence our bodies. And since we're talking about periods here, I just wanted to also add this in before we really transition. And I think for so many of us, I actually hear this frequently. I work a lot in the healing and spiritual and transformative communities. So I hear these types of conversations often with women around their periods, where so many of us, me included, and I love, and Cassie, I know that this is like the work that you're out doing now, of most of us, our cycles were horrendous most of our lives. Some of us worse than others, where we're bedridden, but some of us, like a lot of women I know, including myself, like bedridden at points, very, very sick.
Drop this emoji below if that was you at one point, or even if that's you right now.
Or now. And like you were talking about with your sister and her friend on the floor. And so not that any of that's wrong. However, that's kind of become our normal. Like, we expect it to hurt that bad. We expect to be bedridden. We expect to be on the floor. And if we are truly holistically caring for ourselves, living in alignment and honoring the divine true transformation that week is every month, like we get it every month. Men only get it seasonally, y'all. We get the death and rebirth every month, which some of you might be like, that's not a good thing, Leslie. Why are you like, I don't want that every month. But when we can really see that this is a time to go inward, to just slow down just a little bit. I know life is asking so much of all of us, but to really like first of all, use your voice and set that boundary for yourself, turn inward and have that time. But what I've noticed, and I think all three of us are going to be nodding and agreeing, is the more, not just tea, but the more I've holistically changed my life, breath work, always going to say that the power of the breath has healed everything, but really truly clearing my channels, whatever way that looks like for you, like consistently for years now, I still expect my periods to be horrendous, and they're not. They're really not. They still are periods, don't get me wrong. I still very much experience things, but it is not like bedridden pain, like to where I just want to eat all the food. Like, yes, all of that still occurs, but it's so much subtler.
Yeah, I remember.
And I really wanted to presence that, because I think we hear I think that's part of the belief around periods, or really the what's the word I'm looking for? Taboo. The taboo. I was like, it was right there. The taboo that it is we expect it to be horrible. We expect it to be this thing, because it is, and it has been for years. And then I loved what you said, Cassie, even with your husband. I know your husband is also in a very similar mind space that you are, and my partner is as well. But even the man's conditioning around it, Scotty will say, my partner will say comments I know he doesn't mean, but quite honestly, if we were to like take what he's saying, it's kind of like hurtful, right? Like, oh, that's gross. Totally. And it's like, if we were to say that to someone else, like that's actually a pretty like not so nice comment, but we're just so used to hearing that, that it's just like normal.
No, I love that.
Yes, something that comes out of our body is so gross. And so part of reframing and part of rewiring is honoring. Ordering period tea immediately, and really honoring yourself, but then also catching it, catching yourself and how you're speaking about this sacred time, and how people in your life are speaking about it. And if they're speaking about it, not getting mad at them, because goodness gracious, I just recently in the last few years have reframed this for myself. And men aren't the ones experiencing it. They've only been conditioned to believe certain things. So it's our job to experience it first, go first, always, and shine the light for the men. They'll catch up. They just need a little bit. They'll need a
nudge. They need a little nudge.
They'll need a few reminders, and that's where
we definitely need to go first. And I think that's the most important thing to say, because if we think it's gross, or if we're ashamed,
right,
or if we're guilty or whatever, feeling guilty, then of course they're gonna follow suit. And because they're just like saying what they hear from us. And so I think that's the most important. And remind me, Cassie, is at woashwellness.com.
Yes.
For the tea. Okay, cool. So I am dropping that in the comments below. Hello, Melanie. We see you jumping on. Hello, hello. Drop a comment below, you guys. Where are you tuning in from? We want to know. And we're going to transition. Leslie, hit that transition music.
Oh, what do I got today? I got some transition music. Cassie doesn't know about the transition music. All right, so some rapid fire questions, and we will close out with these just to give everyone a little glimpse of the creatrix behind the scenes of this amazing tea brand. Are you guys ready? I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
By the way, no one knows. We don't have any idea what Candy's about to do, by the way.
Oh, really
nobody knows about this. All right. So, Cassie, where do you live?
Vancouver, Canada.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, one older sister.
Do you have any pets?
A-type, very red A-type. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful. Beautiful. One older sister. Do you have any pets?
Oh, we're getting a new puppy on Saturday.
Oh my God. Drop a picture in the comments.
I will.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'll send a photo. You guys can do it. Yeah, it's an Australian Shepherd. It's a girl. She's a red merle with 2 blue eyes, and her name's Rocky.
Rocky.
That would be yours.
So good. I'm so excited.
I'm a fellow dog mom. Welcome to the family.
Thank you. It's my first, so holy, I'm in for it.
If you need any tips, let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot. I'm like, how am I supposed to do life? I don't get it.
Our entire community is dog moms. I'm the gypsy aunt that's in and out and loves all the dogs, but like our community's got you on the dog mom tips, I think.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna reach out. I need all the tips.
You guys drop your dog mom tips in the comments below for Cassie, because she's a first time dog mom. So let's all show her some love on this one. Amazing. Hi, Caitlin. I see you jumping on. Hello, hello. Okay. How many years have you been in business?
We launched September 2018, so about a year and a half.
A year and a half. Awesome. And what would you say the biggest lesson of that first year was? I know you spoke to it a little bit earlier on the actual, like the growing and the sponsorships and whatnot, but what would you say if you were to summarize it to one sentence, maybe even a word, what would you say that biggest lesson was?
I would say being an intuitive entrepreneur has been my biggest lesson. I wrote a post on this actually recently, but it very came down to, in the beginning of my business, again, I was looking at kind of what society has taught us and about other people in business that I had always admired or held kind of on a pedestal, and I envied and I wanted to be them. And I was basically mimicking what they had done. They were like, you need to be at this show, this market, this place, all these sponsorships. You need to be doing this. So I really fell in there. I kind of was copying their footsteps. And what I realized after year one is that I ended up being somewhere that I didn't want to be. I never envisioned that path for my business. I never wanted to land where I ended up landing. And it really got to a point where I had to take a total step back, go very inside, go very intuitively, did a lot of meditation, a lot of journaling, a lot of breath work. And that's kind of, I really took on my spiritual practice within my business. And now I really, I sit here and I can say that I'm an intuitive led entrepreneur. And I literally have just like stopped the compare as much as I can. Of course I catch myself, but stop the comparison, stop chasing other people's paths and their steps and stuff. And basically have just gone on such an intuitive route of what's next for my business. And I can just totally speak to this, that what has changed since I've done that has been crazy. The collaborations that have just like approached and came to me that are just so in alignment. Business has like grown so much. I've worked with such amazing people. New products have come into play that have done so well. And if I would have pushed this at a different time, it never would have went or happened. So yeah, I would say really lean into you and trust you as an entrepreneur. Like, you are what makes your business different and unique and powerful. And you really need to own that and bring that to the forefront.
Well, I love how just in alignment we are, because you kind of started touching on the next question already. Yeah. And so my next question would be that, yeah, right on the money, because you were kind of going into it a little bit. Is like, what I really heard in that is borrowing goals. Leslie and I talk about this, borrowing goals, and it gets you to a certain level of in your business or in your life, you know, like, for example, New Year hits and everyone suddenly wants to like get in shape and lose weight and all of that, you know, and that gets you to a specific level, but then it's not sustainable. And at some point you've got to check in and see what works for you. And if you didn't know how anyone else is doing it in business, how would you do it, is what I heard was your first like your first year of business lesson. What would you say your biggest lesson is now going into your second year of business, because it's been a year and a half so far? So what would you say it is going into the second year now?
What am I learning right now? Let me see. Actually, this has been actually a lesson. I actually have like a whole other account, and actually I launched a second business, which is like a mentoring business. So funny that I always like post about like my lessons for this week and stuff. And right now I'm really learning to own my success. So I kind of have built this, or have kind of been programmed and conditioned to kind of like give away my success. Like, it's been this thing where I find myself in conversations and at events and networking events and chatting with people, and people are like, oh my God, you're doing so great. And I literally will sit there and I will shrink myself down to be like, whoa. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. That's so great and lovely. But it's because of this or this other person I collaborated with, or because I did that week. And I just hand over my success to these other people or this other event that happened. And I never just own it for myself, that I'm the creator of this and that I've done all of this by myself. And I'm the one that, you know, chose to do that collaboration or chose to do that event that brought all that success. So I tend to give it away a lot and shrink in that sense. So that's been my current lesson.
I love that.
And I know there's some women really relating to that. So let us know if you're like, yep.
Drop that emoji below.
This is the emoji we use the most, probably, because it's just like hashtag relatable.
Hashtag relatable. Try it, Cassie. Try it. Let's all, we got to get this screenshot. Okay, cool. Yes, no, I love it. And I love that, because I can definitely relate to, I would say, my second year of business. Like, I used to give away a lot of my success too, and be like, you know, it's because of this, or it's because of this program, it's because of this thing. And then now I'm really honoring that, no, I am the actual creator of my life. So I love that. It's beautiful. What do you know now that you would have, like, that you didn't know in your first year of business, or just starting out, like that Cassie that was just starting her company? What do you know now that you didn't know then?
Probably everything. I didn't know so many things, but
what would you say one
main thing that I didn't know? Honestly, I think it's, let me think.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
That's my main thing. I mean, yeah, there's so many, but I want to say that, like, what I kind of more so what I would have told myself is that it's okay, again, to not function how everyone plans and how everyone tells you to do it. Yep. Like, just how I just kind of find like society's based on all these like go-getters that are like go. And I actually don't function that way. I pretty much function on about 4 hours of work a day. And then the rest of the time I'm doing journaling, meditating, going out in nature, and like really getting connected that way. And that's where my most inspiration is. So in the beginning, I was getting really, really burnt out. So I would tell myself, it's okay to take that time off. It's okay to not be where that other person is or doing what that other person is. So again, very comparison wise, but it was definitely something that really was tough in the first year and really drove like burnout. A lot of, you know, self-doubt, a lot of fear. and a lot of negativity. And I think it held me back a little bit in the first year. We're now heading into this where I feel so much better about it. I wish I knew that in the beginning.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. Yeah. And we'll go ahead and close it out there. The one last question I'll ask you is just, what would you say to the viewers who are on edge or like, this brand seems pretty cool? I'm curious about that tea. What invitation do you have for them to check out your tea company and to purchase their period blend?
Totally. Yeah. I invite them. Yeah. Any of them. I invite them honestly to jump to the website. And honestly, it's not just about the period tea. That's just like the new one and that we're definitely focusing on right now. Yeah. But the intention behind it is I invite you to go on the website and dive into each of them and check in with yourself and figure out what you need at this moment and how can, us naturally support you during that. So I want everyone to be a little bit more intuitive and check in, even throughout the day, or even if it's just your first time by. I would love you to just like check in with yourself, see where you're at and kind of what that desired state of being you want to get to. So if you want to feel like really in focus, really creative, then maybe think is the blend for you. If your cycle's coming up, then maybe period's the blend for you and you want to feel supported in that sense. So I just honestly invite you to just really be intuitive about all of your choices, whether that comes from like food to tea buying to shopping or whatever that may be for you and that you love to do. It's definitely going back to checking in with yourself and becoming intuitive in that aspect. And yeah.
I love that. Okay. Can you name all 7 tea blends off the top of your head?
Yes, I'll give you a little snippet. So I'll do it on my schedule in the week. So pick me up. I usually have that in the morning, full on energy boosting, but very nourishing, supporting for all the larger organs in your body. So you're not going to get that jittery kind of like up down crash. Then I jump to usually about think in the afternoon. That one has ginkgo. So it's really good for brain function, creativity, helping you focus, memory retention. It's also really supportive. Then I usually jump in the evening to me time. That one's just like very calming, very relaxing, not a sleepy tea. So you can drink it any time of day. But yeah, just that one's really great for journaling, for meditating, getting you in that zone right before yoga, after yoga, that kind of thing. Digest, if you suffer from any sort of digestive discomfort, this is the blend for you. It is so multi-layered and well-balanced that it literally will kind of help relieve any sort of discomfort you may have. Immunity, if you're feeling sick, which I know a lot of the world is struggling with right now. So keeping our immune systems up is so important. That one is full of vitamin C, minerals, antioxidants, elderberries, which is like the most well-known Chinese herb for the immune system. And it's such a beautiful flavor. And then period, if you're heading into your cycle, we want to support you during that and just trying to encourage people to speak about it. Like, yes, I'm buying a period tea. Yes, please share it on your Instagram because periods aren't scary and we're supposed to talk about them and they happen all the time. So, And then the last one is Revive, which I find is, it's just such a clean green. It's just so supportive. That one's kind of for like probably your more adventurous on the go type person. It kind of encompasses a lot of all of the aspects. It's good for brain function. It's good for hydration. It's good to, just kind of keep your overall energy levels up, any sort of depletion that happened. Ginger, really good for digestion, anti-inflammatory, the whole deal. So that's kind of a very fast tidbit about them all. So yeah, just check in, see which one you're feeling and give it a go.
Cassie, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for being our sponsor. Thank you for doing what you do for the world and getting your beautiful medicine out into the world. Leslie, do you want to share anything before we close out today?
I really feel like America's extra blessed because she's just now recently shipping to the US. And I remember when we first reached out, that was like a big thing. Like I literally just started shipping to the US and then you reached out to me. And so it was just always following those hits that we get. Like I got this hit to reach out and I could have ran all these stories as to she doesn't know me and oh my gosh, and I just did. And now I really feel like I have a blooming sister. Who knows what will come out of this sister and friendship, but I feel it's a blooming sisterhood that's happening and I'm so grateful. And I feel more supported in my journey, knowing there's another soul out there that's like that aligned, even though you have a product and I have a service, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I feel really grateful to have you. I'm super And I just love our Tea Talk tribe and all that they bring. Like, we get to do this together because you guys show up. So I'm so grateful.
Amazing.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the community for showing up. And yeah, you both are so lovely. It's been such an honor to meet both of you. And I love that you said, like, you know, you could have told yourself stories and not reached out. And that's a whole other thing, is like,
right. I know. I was like, I'm not going to go into it because that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, like, ask or you'll never know the answer. And no is just, that's the only answer. That's probably the scariest that you'll get, but you'll probably get a yes. So.
And on that note,
join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time for the Tuesday Tea Talks mid-morning show. I'm Candy.
And I'm Leslie.
And I'm Cassie.
Yes, Cassie is the sponsor of the month. We'll see you tomorrow on the Tuesday Tea Talks mid-morning show. Bye, you guys.
Bye.